Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome to Professor Brian Procel from Procel Jiu-Jitsu. Welcome to the show, bro. How are you doing?
I'm feeling pretty good, Dio. Thanks for having me on, man. Excited to be on the podcast and give some interesting insights to your listeners.
Oh man, it's an honor. It's something I've been wanting for quite some time. Honestly, I wanted to make it special and valuable. So this is the 50th episode, so it's a celebration.
Let's celebrate. I'm ready.
So let's dive in real quick into your beginnings. What inspired you to do jiu-jitsu?
Okay. Well, I'm sure like a lot of other folks in the US when the UFC started, that's how I got introduced to jiu-jitsu. My cousin, who you may have already met, he was very big into martial arts, like traditional Asian martial arts. And then as UFC was like kind of coming up through the undergrounds, he showed me a video of like what jiu-jitsu was, which is basically Royce Gracie doing his thing and just tapping people out at will. People that are bigger than him. And I was definitely blown away by it because I was coming up, I was never really physically gifted. I wasn't like that athletically. Yeah, I wasn't that athletically gifted. So to me, it was a very appealing trait of jiu-jitsu was that the fact that someone so small could manhandle someone at will and control them and dictate what happens. That's like such an empowering feeling. So I was already immediately hooked. And I have a pretty close relationship with my cousin, and I would never be opposed to like being his training partner because like he's I have an older sister, but her and I don't train like that. My cousin, he's the one that got me into like physical fitness and introduced me to martial arts. So if it wasn't for him introducing me to like that little clip, I probably wouldn't have really known about jiu-jitsu. So thanks to a little shout out to my cousin Richie. So thank you if you ever watched this. And then it's so funny because he introduced it to me. He was doing jiu-jitsu a little bit longer before I started to train with him for like maybe a couple months. And he was I think he was like a blue belt at the time when I started training as a white belt with him for like 3 months. Fast forward a couple of years, I'm a black belt, and my cousin now is recently a brown belt. So a little funny saying of like how the student has now become the master type of thing. Because he always used to big brother me, so it was a nice little humble pie that I could serve him. Now that
so it's like who's the big brother now?
Yeah, for real. But yeah, that's how I got introduced to jiu-jitsu. I was already kind of familiar with grappling in general because I never really had that much confidence growing up just because of my physical appearance. So I was naturally gifted more towards individual sports, which is why in high school I sought out wrestling because you're not relying on someone else to determine the outcome of an event. Everything falls on your shoulder. So I thought it was a good way to introduce myself to learn how to develop some accountability on myself to like learn how to dig deep, push through like the weak spots in the mind. And wrestling definitely introduced me to that. So since I was exposed to like that type of grappling, going into jiu-jitsu wasn't too different for me. And in fact, it was actually a much easier transition than I thought. So training jiu-jitsu with my cousin for 3 months, took a break because I was entering college and I know I was focusing more on work because I needed money for college. And then my cousin again, he's the one that introduced me to the school where I got my black belt from, which was Savarese Jiu-Jitsu.
Shout out to them.
Yep. Shout out to my instructor, Professor Savarese. So I started training with him officially 2009. And I haven't been with any other school since. So since 2009, he called me as like a young teenage white belt. And fast forward, was it 8 years, June 27th of 2017, I got my black belt under Professor Chris Savarese. So it's been a really nice journey to get to where I am right now.
It's crazy because you mentioned like when you first started, you felt like you wasn't an athlete, you have confidence, but yet you fast forward now, like you're a total fucking badass.
Yeah,
like
things have changed big time.
Like you're like the growth and development and the dedication you put in to this journey has changed you drastically.
Oh yeah, for the better. I'm a much better person because of it, and it opened up many doors and introduced me to a lot of amazing people. Like the way you guys see how for the listeners who don't know, D.I.O is actually one of my students. So you see firsthand.
Procel.
That's right. So you see firsthand exactly how I carry myself in the room, how my personality comes out. I can guarantee you that's not how I started off when I was doing jiu-jitsu or just as a person in general. So jiu-jitsu kind of got me to develop like my own like personality and a way to express myself. Going into college, I was already like a blue belt, and an opportunity arose to me to actually teach jiu-jitsu at my university at Montclair State. And that's where I met a lot of great people, some very great mentors because they got me exposed into group fitness. So they saw the potential I had. They knew that jiu-jitsu was a great, interest of mine, but they saw the potential to do something more. And thank you for them because they actually enhanced my teaching abilities. They exposed me to like, traditional group exercise formats of like what's taught in health clubs. And I was doing that for a while. I was teaching total body conditioning in college. I was teaching a format like with a barbell class called Body Pump. I was doing a bunch of health clubs around Hudson County and Essex County. So it was definitely, I'm very grateful I came across them because they've influenced my teaching style greatly, and I can do that on the mats. People, like I said, if you take class with me, you could definitely see how my personality comes out. It's not very robotic. It's very unique. And
That's very, very like, if you go on to like spin classes or any other classes, very vibrant, very clear. You could understand what you're saying, and especially the message. When you're trying to break down a move, it's very comforting.
No, that's one of the beautiful things about the years I've spent like building my craft and teaching. Not just for jiu-jitsu, but like even when I was teaching like in health clubs, everyone learns differently. Sometimes you'll be teaching the same thing for like a week or so. You just have to find new ways to relay the message so that it's still grasped and retains to the individual who's receiving it. I've learned how to just work with different personality types because again, like people learn differently, and it's my responsibility as the instructor to make sure I give that person the best tools that they can to succeed in whatever we're doing. So whether it was like a fitness-based class for like strength training or in jiu-jitsu, I'm always stressing just at least trying to fix little details to help you guys get better so it becomes clear so that the next time you come to class, you're a little bit more confident in how you can execute the technique and not feel so lost, and you're actually working at a nice steady pace that way too.
Very true, very true. So you're in this starting this journey of jiu-jitsu. You went from white belt to blue belt. Obviously your cousin was a very influential part of you joining this world of jiu-jitsu we have nowadays, right?
Yep.
Now, did you like, as a fan of the art, was it somebody in particular that you looked up as like, I want to have some type of style of him and put it into my game? Like, do you have anybody inspire you that you will look at motivation?
From the jiu-jitsu community, a lot of them, like from when I was coming up the ranks, a lot of it was just like more like the Gracies, honestly. Because again, just staying true to my roots of like self-defense first, sports second. And seeing like this is like when Hickson, Henzo, Hoyler, a lot of these guys were still like actively competing, some doing MMA as well. I was exposed to a lot of like what they would do. I wasn't really too familiar with like a lot of the other big names that now, like who have the big schools like Andre Galvao, other like Marcelo Garcia. He was another one that I started to remember seeing video clips of him, and he was really good. JT Torres, I remember seeing him in his early black belt years, and the stuff he was able to do against bigger guys, that was really cool. But it's tough for me to pinpoint to one specific individual because again, under the guidance of my instructor, I trusted every word he was saying, and like he didn't steer me wrong. I would do my own independent research too of like for whatever video clips were available on YouTube at the time. A lot of it would be like more Gracie based, and if you wanted to see good stuff in action, you'd actually have to go to tournaments to see the high level competitors at their work. And that's one thing I don't think students right now are going to understand, because I speak about this with my instructor sometimes, my professor, and like coming up the ranks, like we didn't have the stuff that you guys have now. The quality of instruction that you guys have now is way better than what we had when we were coming up the ranks, as far as like also access to like online resources. We didn't really have that. I didn't have access to like a lot of high upper belts to train.
Yeah, it wasn't like now it's like a major traffic, like it's everywhere. Like you
Yeah.
go on YouTube, even a white belt was making a YouTube tutorial on something. Like it's so out there. It's very like you used to have like I was talking to my wife. It's funny. Used to have like back in the day, it used to be like movie famous, music famous, things like that. Now you have jiu-jitsu famous, Instagram famous. So now it's a little bit more exposed.
Yeah, there's more platforms to get the word out there. So the access of information is definitely an advantage that people who are starting jujitsu now, it can work to their favor, but it can also seem overwhelming if they're not really seeking out the right info.
Yeah.
So definitely for a lot of students, I don't mind that they like to search stuff online, see some cool clips, but at the same time, like the stuff that your instructors feed, like providing you guys, definitely stick to that
Yeah.
curriculum for the most part, because there's a reason they're teaching that to you guys, and it's to make sure your foundation is pretty solid. When your foundation's solid, you can then start thinking
Yeah.
about exploring and branching out your
I,
style of what
I
jiu-jitsu is to you.
I totally agree because when I first started, doing jujitsu, like I went through the rabbit hole. I started watching videos and videos, and like,
Of course.
I sometimes I could get very obsessive, and like I just get lost. So I had to like pull myself back and not
Mhm.
watch anything for quite some time. And if anything, watch the videos, which you could go on Procel.com, ProcelBJJ.com, and you can watch if you're a member, watch the curriculums, and he has all the videos there. And I just dedicated watching that because it was really like I was becoming obsessive. I was becoming one of those, how those people in the gym are like just lifting shit up and put them down.
Yeah.
And like I was like that at jujitsu. It's like, oh man, one of those jujitsu junkies, right? And I wasn't grasping the like you said earlier, uh defensive first and then sportsmanship second.
Yeah. So that's the thing for new students to learn too. I mean, they want to just the concept of winning and losing, I think, is what kind of can work to people's like disadvantage, because I could care less who's like tapping out who. I just like seeing people try, because if you're not trying, that means you're not really willing to open yourself up to making mistakes, because that's the only way you're going to get better. So like I tend to make it an emphasis during class to really highlight the people that are, for lack of better words, messing up, because I want them to know that I appreciate your effort in trying to open up your game and leaving yourself vulnerable. Because again, no one gets a trophy at the end of the night when we're done with class. You
That
might be
is
thinking
very
about
true.
like, damn, how did I get past? But it's normal.
I am guilty of that, guys.
No, that's just something to reflect on, because that's when jujitsu is supposed to be enjoyable. And the way to make it something that you don't like is when you focus too much on like the down points of your training, like when things aren't going your way. It's all every belt level is going to experience that. I still experience that from time to time when I get my serving of humble pie when I train with my other teammates at Savaris, and it's nice because I love feeling how much better they've gotten. And it's only going to work in my favor too to improve my game, and then
Keeps you balanced.
yeah, and then we pass it down to each other. But um, yeah, learning not to make it about wins and losses, learning not to take things so personally, because when you start mentally quitting, it's just not, you're not doing yourself any justice that way.
Yeah. I
So
definitely, I definitely in my training, I had to really take a step back, right? Because as you know, I'm a father, I'm a husband, and at one point I was very like, you know, going every day, but I wasn't getting the rest I needed to take care of myself. Which, if you don't do that, injuries. That's when injuries occur.
yeah, injuries and burnout. Yeah, I mean, like listen, I know how addicting jujitsu
Mm-hmm.
is, man. I mean, like when I was coming up the ranks, I would want to be on the mats if possible 6 or 7 days a week and just train.
Yes,
I didn't
yes,
like, and that's one of the things that I was very like, not to pat myself on the back, but I'm going to, like, coming up the ranks. People already would judge me based off my size because they saw like I wasn't that intimidating. But once I got a hold of you and I could like outwork you, then I could start noticing the trend where people would mentally break. And that for me was like a nice confidence boost, knowing that I just have to weather the storm a little bit until they get tired, and then try to see how I can outmaneuver them to gain to a better position. Just like having a no quit attitude, because I already knew like whether they're the same skill level as me or someone much more superior, like I didn't care. Like I was seeking out the best people in the room just because if I pair myself up with the best people in the room, I'm only gonna get better. I know it's gonna, suck getting my butt
Yeah.
kicked a lot, but
Yeah.
it's part of the process of getting better. I need to know what they're doing so I can understand the feel, so I could then, even try it myself and find a way to do it to other people or even stop it. And I think that's what people don't really understand. Like they don't have the right mindset approach when it comes to their training, especially when you're brand new. Because honestly, like the first year or so of being a white belt, it's rough because you're gonna be the nail most of the time, and like you just have to take
Yes.
you're gonna have to take your lumps. Now, I'd like to think that my upper belts and the students who've been with me here for a while, they do it in a nice way where they encourage you guys to like, keep coming back and keep getting better. So like, although they're technically better than you, they do it in a way where they're encouraging you to not stop and to like, keep pushing to eventually see what you're capable of. And it's
Yeah.
one of
Like I'm glad you mentioned that because you have like people like a Nuke, Mo, Rich, Nikita. You have people like them that they're gonna tap your ass out, but they're gonna also like stop and say, hey, when you do this, try to explain it to you the process and educate you and pass their knowledge on what they have learned to help you out and see you progress. And majority of those guys, like when you progress, they get really happy. They really get happy. They'll come and hug you and smile, like very genuine happiness. And that's something in other sports sometimes that camaraderie is missing.
Yeah, I agree, man. Like I take such great pride when I see my blue belts interacting the way that they do with the white belts. I place great trust in them, knowing not to like harm someone that's like brand new that's starting this, because the whole goal is to keep them coming back. The more they keep
Mm-hmm.
coming back, you're getting yourself a new training partner that's gonna help make you better too in the process. And like I'm not sure if they realize this or not. Like when I put them with different white belts, I like doing this because they have to learn how to like relay the information in a way that it's going to penetrate to the individual. So like they have to learn how to they're learning how to develop a teaching style whether or not they realize it. And
Mm-hmm.
like it's also showing me that it's reinforcing the fact that they know the technique. They don't have to rely on me to show it. And like I don't have a problem when they ask me, but I'm so confident in their ability to pass on that knowledge. And again, the blue belts that you guys know, the 5 blue belts I have right now, Juan, Anoop, Mode, Rich, Nikita, they all started me when they were white belts. They literally got all of me like when we were first coming up through Grassroots, and to where they are right now. Like I couldn't be happier. It's just it makes me feel comfortable and very proud knowing that these guys are great representations of what I look for my students to be. Because as an upper belt, that's a responsibility you have. You're a representation of your instructor, and you see how everyone interacts with each other. So I never have a problem with them, and I'm always at ease when I know that they're in the room and they can definitely help new people out. And then you start to build those habits in the white belts who are coming up, like 2 stripes and above. They start seeing how the upper belts act, and they're mirroring that. So it makes it more welcoming, especially for new people who've never done martial arts before. They see how friendly the environment is to where they know they're not going to get harmed, and like they're going to control you the right way without getting emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Because when people don't know, people who've never been exposed to this, their adrenaline pumps, so it's natural for them to get very emotional. And it takes time on the mat to understand how not to take things so personal. Someone's reckless aggression, it's not with the intent to, usually it's not with the intent to harm you. They just don't know how to control their energy. And like my blue belts right now, some of my upper white belts know how to like kind of control that and not really try to match that energy, because in the long run, as you'll see, you'll get pretty tired if you do. So it's good to see that they're starting to understand that self-control and that discipline to weather the storm, but also just control that energy, because it pays off in the long run too. Not just in jiu-jitsu, but in other situations in life that may arise where you want to be cool-headed and make sure that you make good decisions.
Yeah, very true. Very true. It's something that you will learn throughout your consistency in the process. You keep going. It's not something that happen overnight. So when was the moment you realized you wanted to like now open your own your own thing? Not because you're about to, there you go, Procel, because you're going on an anniversary right now, right? 3 years, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken, right? So like what was like what was that defining moment that say, I want to open my own school?
Well, it's funny. I mean, you could ask Caitlin this as well. So, my instructor has always been approaching me. Like we do at his academy, he does year-end evaluations. That kind of like, we reflect on the goals that you wrote down on paper. We see what you were hitting, what you've missed, and like what we could get better at. And like he's been with me since I was like 18 or 19 years old. So he's seen me come up,
It's
and
very influential on you, I can see.
very influential. Like you know, he tells you how it is. So he's always been on me to like want to open up a school. Like even I think when I was like a brown belt or maybe even like late purple belt, I think he was like planting the seed of me wanting to open the school. The only reason I didn't at the time, because even as a brown belt, I think I remember hearing that more, was that I just didn't think people would take me seriously if I wasn't a black belt, and that's why I kept pushing it off. And then when I got my black belt, I was still pushing it off because I was like, oh, that's a big decision. I was like,
Yes.
I'm just a kid. I don't even know nothing about business. All I've done is like my whole life, or like career wise, is like work in restaurants, but like management. So to do something on my own, like where it's my hard work and sweat and like money and like everything, it's intimidating. It's
The
scary.
physical toll.
Yeah, like one thing I enjoyed about my instructor is that him and like a couple other like people like in the wrestling community, like especially my instructor, he introduced like the whole concept of self-improvement and goal setting. So like once I started understanding that part, I would start seeking out more topics about that. I'd say maybe I got my black belt 2017 of June. I was the black belt for a year, so I'd say sometime like once I hit that 1 year anniversary of my black belt, um, I I felt that being a student, which is what my role was. Like I mean, I would help him teach at his academy, but like I felt like there was something missing. I didn't have that drive because I kind of attained the end goal, which was like, all right, the black belt.
Yeah.
After that, I mean, like what's next? So I have, I enjoyed still being a student there, training with my teammates, but I knew I had so much more to offer. And then, I decided one day, like Keelan and I were like, we were talking, we went on a vacation trip, like to Texas. There's like this wall there that you like write down like what your wish is, like your dream before you, I think it's like something before you die. So that you see like a bunch of goals or dreams that people want to write down to achieve before they die. So there's like a little blank spot there for me available. So I was like, all right. So like I crouched down. I didn't know she took a photo of it, but I crouched down and I wrote down I want to own my own martial arts school. So like I put on to, the whole pen and paper method. I put it onto that little that mural in Texas. And then like once I was looking at it, I was like, all right, I think I can do it. I was like, I'll start doing some research. So that was, I feel like we went 2018 June, I want to say, is when we had that vacation. I was starting to do some like research of like, all right, how do I start a martial arts school? My instructor was giving me advice on like certain approaches I could take, but his approach was, I guess, like more of like finding a physical space to like lease out. I wasn't ready for that because like again, I don't have that business savviness.
Yeah.
So I didn't think it was smart on my part to like want to take a loan out or anything like that.
No,
So
it's very costly.
well, yeah, especially if
Yeah.
I don't know anything about like marketing and like budgeting and all that stuff. So I took the approach of renting out a spot hour by hour at this place in downtown Jersey City. It's called Grassroots Community Space. They're located on the corner of 3rd and Cole Street. So shout out to Cello. I'll send this to him too. But yeah, Cello gave me the opportunity to host my jiu-jitsu classes there. So basically, the Grassroots facility is maybe 4 blocks away from where we currently are right now. So it's a community space where you can rent out by the hour, teach whatever format it is that you're trying to offer to the community, and that's it. So I reached out to him to see if like the availability of when I could teach. So I got like maybe 4 days, 5 days out of the week to teach there. I invested in like my own mats. I paid out of pocket for like the hourly rates that I was doing to reserve the spot. And unfortunately, there was no storage available there. So every time if you know the wall mats at our academy, the accordion style
Mhm.
wall mats. So those were our floor mats basically. And I would have to put 4 of those 6x12s on a hand truck and push it from my apartment building all the
Mm.
way to
The
Grassroots, no
hustle
matter the weather, rain or
of a
shine,
small business
and then have
owner,
to load them
man.
back up and push it all the way home. So yeah, that hand truck is like the OG of the academy. It's been with me since day one, helped me push our training facility, which is our mats, to the location and back. I was doing I was literally doing this for a whole year. From December 3rd of 2018 is when I started teaching, technically like running my business to the public. I was teaching December 3rd, 2018 up until I guess 2019 of December as well. And for that whole year, like I said, I would take the mats from my apartment, lug them down this flight of stairs, load it up on the hand truck, push it down the street onto oncoming traffic. My wife goes to a training facility nearby, and we have some neighbors in the area that are like, "Oh yeah, your husband's the mat guy." They knew me as the mat guy because they see me pushing that thing every day.
Oh
So,
man.
so yeah, I would be pushing that thing every day, rain or shine, even during the snow. Because like I didn't want to fail. I refused to like the idea of quitting like makes me
Mm.
sick.
There you go. Oh,
And
I love that. I love that.
it does. And like, listen, I already knew the competition in my area. There's other martial arts facilities in Jersey City, but also like, other fitness based
Mm.
programming in Jersey City. So like I knew what I was up against, but I was still willing to put myself out there and try to make something out of it. During this whole year of working at a Grassroots, I mean, on my grand opening, like my first official day of teaching, um, I had my wife, an old training partner, my friend and his brother, and one random stranger show up for the first class. So this is to let you know how good I was at marketing. So luckily for me that day, I was able to sign up that one stranger, and then from there I was starting to build up. It was a very slow
Yeah,
process because
man. It only takes one. It only
it
takes
does.
one.
I was very fortunate. I'll never forget his name, Thomas Gorman. He was my first ever student of Procel Jiu-Jitsu. I wish him well. I don't know where he is right now, but yeah, he's my first official student. That whole year, I was learning about marketing, learning how to advertise my services, just trying to get foot traffic and get recognition. Eventually, that's when I started getting my current blue belts in. Like when I got them as white belts, some of them knew nothing about jiu-jitsu. Others had been exposed to it like briefly before. But that whole year at Grassroots was a big learning process. I mean, like looking back at it now, like I'm sure I looked very silly pushing those mats around, and like I'm sure people like thought like who the hell is this guy?
Hey, fuck it.
Just
Hey,
like
fuck it.
some weirdo. No, and I agree. I mean, like, and nothing bad on them. Like they could think what they want. I knew what I was chasing, and I was like, I just kept telling myself I don't want to quit. I'm gonna see this through until the very end. I didn't know when that end was because I knew eventually I wanted at least a space, but I wanted to take the approach of building a student roster first before I looked for a spot. And
Smart. It was very smart.
no, it paid off. It was a long process though. I don't think a lot of people would do what I was doing. Like even looking back at it now, I can't believe that I did that because it was very fatiguing and draining.
But you're
Like
here now. It takes a
yeah,
lot of hard work, determination. People don't know how much shit people always see the end of things, right? When you're up here
yeah,
and you made it, but they never see all the bullshit and the headaches and the stress you have to go through to get to that place.
yeah. They don't see that, and like that's stuff that I keep to myself. I mean, people that are very close to me know exactly what I've done to like get to where I am right now. So like they've seen the stuff I have to go through to get the academy that I have right now. And I'm just very thankful for the support system. My wife's been a huge help. I mean, she's never once doubted me or like
Mm.
gave like she kept supporting me even when like there was moments where I was like nothing's happening, like just like felt kind of hopeless. But like she was there not to keep me down. She found a way to make sure that I would always keep chasing it, that things will get better. So having her as a very strong support system is something I'm very grateful for. My teammates from Savage Jiu-Jitsu, they saw what I've been doing. So like I love that they keep checking up on me, even though there was like days where I didn't want to tell them how I was doing. It's like some days I would have like 0 students. And like it was so sad. Like that's not motivating to make you want to come back and keep doing it.
Dude, I feel you. I feel you. I feel 100%. When I started my dad custom tees, my t-shirt printing business.
Mhm.
I look at it like I look at I posted a picture on something on my Instagram like a year
Yeah.
ago. No likes, no nothing. Inclusive, like I had shit, and I had to go back to work. I had to go back to work and pump money
Yeah.
into my business. And I told my wife, I'm gonna go back to work, and I need you to not let this die, right? Especially like I have an autistic son. It gets difficult. You know, I want to work from home. I want to be around him, right? That was my main goal. And fucking to this day, you know, she fucking wants the business because but I'm better, you know, I'm better than what I was before. And those are sacrifices that people don't see, you
Yeah.
know? And
Mhm.
and if you have to mention it, it's a problem, right? If you have to remind me people of it, it's a problem too, because it's just it when you know, right?
No, yeah, and that's 100%. I agree with you on that. Like one thing I learned about during my years of like teaching group fitness was I don't relay my problems to other people. So like if you're coming for me for a specific service for like in this case jujitsu, um, my job is to give you 100% of me during that 1 hour block that we have together. I want to make sure that you know you're coming to me for a specific reason, whether it's to get in better shape, to relieve some stress, and clear your mind. My job is to help achieve that for you. And in order for me to do that, I can't be bothering you or like throwing my problems at you that I've been experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
That's my burden to deal with. If I feel if there's someone to share that with, it's only the people that are like very close to me. But like as an instructor, that's like one thing that's like one of my pet peeves. Like just because someone in the room might be feeling down doesn't mean you have to join the pity party.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just gonna bring down the energy and the mood in the room.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's not when like when you're teaching, showtime. You gotta go and just make it another memorable experience for the people in your room. So yeah, I don't really think it's necessary to burden people with you know the stresses of your daily life. That's you know something for you to vent to personally with someone that you can confide in.
Facts, facts. So I did some digging, right? Now, what's today? Today's December. We're recording this on December 9th, right? So I did
Yeah.
some research, right? And fast forward now to the present, you got the Academy, um, new location, right? So I went back, I went to your Facebook, right? Your personal one. And on these, I want to say January 5th, 2012, you stated dreading the thoughts of working today, and you put that annoying face. H-
I
How how much has changed from that feeling to present time?
don't know what I was thinking or feeling that day.
Well,
Um,
you definitely hated that job because on December 30, 2009, you said
2009.
2009, December 30, 2009 says uh
Worse that day. Huh?
my yeah, you basically said you hate your job.
Well, what else would a teacher say, right? Yeah. So it's you know, I was probably just working at the restaurant as a server, so I could understand. But yeah, from then to now, it's different. Um, like don't get me wrong, there'll be days like where like it's tough to get up sometimes, or like you know the motivation might not be there like it was the day before. But like once I'm in the room and like I see the students, for me it's like it's showtime. It's ready. Let's go. It I genuinely enjoy seeing what I'm capable of doing for other people, and everyone at the academy has different goals of why they're there, and I enjoy that because I love seeing the interaction that they have with one another, and you know how they can kind of complement one another, not just on the mats, but they learn more about each other off the mats too. And yeah, it doesn't really feel like a job because I'm definitely more knowledgeable than I was when I first started this. So um, don't get me wrong, every business is gonna have its days where it's tough, but
No, definitely, especially like your, you know, your business is it's physical. You know, some days like I seen you roll with other people and they're trying to like rip your head off, right?
Yeah,
It's that like it's that oh, this is the professor. I'm you know, they always want to overpower the master in some way or form. They will always want to show off, right? So it gets hectic. So I, you know,
I appreciate them for that. It is
it
that.
gets I seen it, man. It gets hectic. So I can imagine, you know, some days you wake up and you're just fucking sore. It's shit.
Yeah, it's part of getting old. I've always heard about it in my early 20s from my other teammates that when you get older, you're gonna feel a lot of this more. I'm like, I hope you're wrong, but there's some truth to that. I could definitely feel a difference when it comes to like getting up sometimes.
Sure.
But
I remember growing up in Puerto Rico, and uh, sometimes I would go work construction.
yeah,
And man, I was working for a month, and shit, every day was torture for me. Every day was torture for me. My body was sore. I couldn't bend my back. Imagine the
yeah.
people who do it every fucking day.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, man.
No, yeah, I mean, I've gotten used to it. I think in the upcoming years there'll probably be um, some assistant instructors, so I'm excited for that. The academy's just headed in a direction that's very positive, so I'm looking forward to the next phase. I mean, just to give some of the listeners perspective, so like when we were done with Grassroots, we were able to move to our current location in the Brunswick Center in downtown Jersey City. Um, we opened January 3rd of 2020. So we had a fantastic 3 month, 3 month start. And then of course the pandemic happened, and that was a scary moment because I'm like, it'd be one thing if I could offer my services online, but not everyone has access to a training partner, and there's only so much you can do with a dummy that you're not going to be as motivated. It's different when you have a
Mm-hmm.
live person with you.
Yes.
So those 3 months when we were closed, you know, thankful for the students that were still able to support me during that time. Lucky that there was some financial assistance from the city available to help us get through that. The landlords were very helpful as well. And honestly, as weird as it is to say, the pandemic was almost like a blessing in disguise because my business expanded after that. Like when we reopened, I'd say like late June or early July of 2020, the school expanded. Like we were getting more interest of people, I guess, had cabin fever. They just want to get out and like just start
Yes.
getting their
Yes.
bodies
Yes.
moving. And
Yes.
with that interest and that, more foot traffic, we're able to expand our location into the second room. So we tore the wall down, and our academy is what it is now. It's a much more spacious facility to train in, very clean and welcoming. I think when you started, we only had the one room still, I think, right?
Actually, when I started, like days, I remember I scheduled my first class,
Yeah.
and you were already they were already bringing like the wood floor you guys put on under a
Oh, the
mat.
plywood. Yeah, the
They
plywood.
were they were already put into the side because they were about to tear it. I guess that either that weekend or the next weekend.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's right. We had a big little move in day. I remember
Yeah,
that now. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um, man, I've always wanted to do jujitsu, right? Like it's like for me, it was like growing up in Puerto Rico, in this very, very difficult environment, was always fighting.
Mhm.
Like they just say I was a well-known person, right?
That's a good word in it.
Because I don't want to incriminate myself.
That's
I,
okay.
I don't
Just
know I don't know the jurisdictions of laws and shit, but
let the imaginations run wild. You're a well-known person for
yeah,
recognition in the street.
and they used to call me a nickname that I told my wife, and she would laugh until I went over there, and people actually called me that nickname, and she was astonished by it.
Is it a PG nickname, like a PG?
Well, it was a stupid nickname.
Okay.
It was a stupid nickname that I don't want to mention because it's like, really? It was a stupid nickname, but it stuck. And like it stuck so far, right? That I was at home and I had people in other places talking about me. I was a topic of discussion, right?
All right.
And just fighting in the streets um, with something based on survival, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got to a point in my life that once I moved here, I didn't want to have that life. And so I've always wanted to do jiu-jitsu because I always felt like it's something like I always saw like defensive, like you're trying to prevent something.
Oh yeah, you're learning how to neutralize,
Yeah.
like what the Gracie say. You're fighting fire with water. So you're
Yeah.
fighting.
So like I saw a documentary of Rick Gracie. Yeah,
Gracie.
Rick's and Gracie, where he used to go on these world fights, and he was just neutralize these big opponents, right?
Yeah.
And like I started like looking at it as like at the end of the day, he doesn't want to hurt you. He's not looking for a fight. And he would do like why everybody would like beat their ass together. When it came him to fight, he was all fresh. No, right? and and I saw all these, schools, but they're all Gracies and Gracies and Gracies. And,
Yeah, it's a very recognizable name.
Yeah.
I mean, they established themselves in the U.S.
And I get it, and all respect to them, but at some point, I started feeling like that was another franchise. It's just another fucking McDonald's or Taco Bell, or whatever preferred meal you have. So I stopped my search because I didn't want to join something that a lot of jiu-jitsu junkies just to join. They'll go in, they'll learn a couple of moves and moves they bounce. And then I did jiu-jitsu, I roll around, I know how to do that. Right. And I apologize if I sound offensive, but I'm trying to offend somebody.
Okay.
Because I seen it in class. I see people come in and they want to learn 2 things, and then they bounce and they want to rep this thing that they still don't know the understanding of it. And they lack a lot of respect for it, right? Because at the end of the day, it's an art. So one day I was scrolling through social media and I saw my boy Thomas Chung. Shout out to Thomas Chung, Sixth Element.
I thought it was him that got you into.
Yeah, I love that guy, man. That is somebody that at one point in my life I wasn't at the best place, and I took his friendship for granted, and God has bring him back in my life, and I will never do that again. And he's the one who got me into Professor Jiu-Jitsu, and
thank you, Thomas.
and fucking Professor Jiu-Jitsu ever since.
I appreciate it. I mean,
I wanted something different, and obviously, what you brought to the table is very something different, and I love every minute of it.
Well, it makes me happy to hear that. So it lets me know me and my students are doing something right. So I appreciate you taking a chance on us and reaping the benefits of what our programs can do for you. If you don't mind being honest, I guess, what do you feel Jiu-Jitsu has done for you since your time with our school?
Oh man, that's a very long question. So every time I walk in through those doors, right?
Yeah.
Because it's on the second level, right? So I walk in, I go up the stairs, and there's that fucking long hallway, right? Mm-hmm. And every time I walk through that hallway, it haunts me. Like it gives me anxiety. Like it makes me feel like I can't breathe, right? Because it brings me back to those traumas. So growing up, with my mom has to go pick me up of principal's office, or when they walked me down the hallway when I was getting arrested, or every time somebody closest to me died and I had to walk through that fucking hospital and go say goodbye to that dead body. It haunts me, right? So when I think about jiu-jitsu, it's helped me drastically with my mental state. Right. I walk in, and some days, I'm so, so tired, so exhausted, emotionally imbalanced. And I walk through those fucking hallways and I get scared. But I find the courage and just fucking go in. That's what sometimes I go in and stick to a corner, because it's every time I get a grip to my, grasp my neck or whatever, it's trauma I've received from, getting beating as a child, for being misunderstood, for being jumped for no reason, for, all those times that people have tried to kill me for no fucking reason without even know me.
Yeah.
And once I get in there and I start rolling, that chaos, right? Because essentially you're in a struggle, gives me peace, right? And since day one I started to now, that peace has expanded to my outside world, that has helped me calm my demons inside, help me maintain and think before, think before you act. It's helped me be a better husband and listening, has helped me be a better father and being patient. Every time I roll, like it puts me in my place, because any day could be your day. Meaning, like, any day I could tap somebody out, but any day that person could tap you out, and you can never take it for granted. So when I walk out, when I'm done rolling, I walk out. I walk out with this fucking physical peace and mental peace that I have not been able to control for my fucking 32 years of living. And that's what has given me.
Well, I'm very happy to hear that you're getting some mental release and stability and just peace of mind, just knowing that you have somewhere to go that can help you achieve that. Not a lot of people have that. It's unfortunate, that leads them down a path of like bad decisions.
Yeah.
So, and you're a family man, you're a businessman, so it's good that you have this outlet to not just benefit you mentally and physically, but also the people around you. So,
yeah, and I've been able to meet some incredible people. I'm very I don't, what is that damn word?
Grateful, appreciative.
No, I'm a person that I keep to myself,
Introverted.
Yeah, introverted,
Okay.
and sometimes I can, sometimes I can't, but it's when it comes to being alone, I'm most comfortable. I'm at home there, but going to your classes and being able to, like, meet these incredible people, like, it's helped me be more sociable, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, I grew up in a place in where, like, every time it was a festival, it was a shooting. It was highly violent activity. So me being in a room with a fucking bunch of people, I'm very uncomfortable.
Yeah, some people get kind of uncomfortable being around a large group or just public speaking and things like that. It's funny. Like I consider myself introverted too, but you wouldn't think that based off how I
No,
carry myself in the room.
with
Like
that beautiful smile, like,
that's right.
thank you,
I
thank you for coming.
well, I like to get that out of people a lot too. Like I like to crack jokes. I like to be I'm serious when I have to be serious, but I'm very big on just having that one-on-one interaction with a lot of the students. So like whether you've been with me for years or you just recently started, I'm always going to find the way to make it a point of mine to have some type of interaction with you. Because I can see in the room sometimes some people are like very reserved and not wanting to come out of their shell. So it's fun to kind of like poke at it and like bring it out of them, and then that gets them loose, that gets them comfortable, and then they have a much better time.
Yes, yes.
It takes a while to develop that, understanding how to do that. Because if you're an introvert, having to be the one to put yourself out there like that to start something, takes a while to get comfortable with. But again, just going back to a lot of the years of teaching that has got me to that point. I love being in front of the room. I love having the spotlight on me and just, sharing my craft and doing what I do best. So it's definitely fun. But I'm glad, just keep it on track. I'm glad to hear what jiu-jitsu has done for you. A lot of students definitely get that mental peace of mind, just depending on what No problem. Depending on what day may have had, like the stresses from work. So it's good when they finally have a little safe haven away from that.
Yeah, man, it feels real, like, you know, it feels relaxing after, you know, you had a good roll, you know, and, you know, on my drive home, I just feel relaxed. Now, you know, the next day when I'm kind of sore, not kind of feeling it, but
I hear you.
but
That means you just gotta stretch more. That's all.
yeah, but it's I enjoy it, you know. People, I've I've I sat down and actually talk about it with people, right? And they look at me like I'm crazy, but it's a beautiful art form. Uh
I agree. It definitely is. And like, sorry to cut you off, but like,
no, don't worry about it.
um, I'm wearing a shirt right now that you can't see all of it, but it basically says Jiu-Jitsu is a way of life.
Yes.
And I think if there's this saying like Jiu-Jitsu is for everyone, and I'd like to believe that it's true, but it really depends on how it's introduced to the person and how it's maintained. I don't think that a lot of people make it their intention to attract to use jiu-jitsu to attract different types of people in life. So, and this could apply to like more like the competition-based schools, and you can find these a lot across the U.S. Some of them have a very heavy competition focus, so you might see them cater more towards like younger,
Mhm.
athletic-driven individuals.
It's like
Whereas,
Cobra Kai.
yeah, Cobra Kai. Stay tuned. December 31st season comes out.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
go. But yeah, so like as an example from my school, I take great pride knowing that I make it my intention to have jujitsu, even if it's just like a one and done experience for you, that you've at least had an enjoyable time understanding how jujitsu can benefit you. The people we have in our room, like when I take a good look at them, we have a lot of family people. So like we have husband and wives training, boyfriend, girlfriends. We have people who've never really been the athletic types. We've had people of different age groups, some like, you know, their young 20s, upper 30s, and even higher 40s. And my goal is just to make sure that you guys can keep coming back. I know this is a demanding martial art at times with the stuff that we're doing to each other, but the intention is never to hurt one another. The intention is to, you know, provide you a great experience of a workout, but also um, to deliver it in a way where you guys can still keep coming back, because you don't want to lose training partners, and it should be fun. And I'm going to make sure that you guys have the right mindset when you approach your training, because when you start not having fun and you start switching your focus, that's when people could lose interest in jiu-jitsu. And you know, I think it's part of it's the instructor's job to kind of reframe the student's mindset to make sure that, you know, it's not about the wins and losses, and that you're coming there for a specific reason of getting yourself better.
Yeah. I agree. I've as of lately now, I had I had to look at myself in the mirror and take accountability. Like, I enjoy this so, you know, a little too much that I need to like take a step back, because if I continue to do it so much, you know, I'm gonna just lose the love for it. You know, if you love something so much, you shouldn't do it so much. So, you know, I'll do today yes, tomorrow no, next day yes, you know, and keep that balance so I don't, you know, I have resting time and I'm able to still you know, enjoy it.
Well, yeah, for you in your case, it sounds like you definitely benefit from the time apart as far as like giving your body a chance to recover. But that should also give you a chance to kind of evaluate your style of how you're rolling in the room. So like,
Yes.
are if you really analyze yourself as like how you roll, are you the type that's very calm and relaxed? Or are you the type that becomes a little too explosive and like gets too tired too quick?
Mhm.
Um, are you like, how do you want your training partners? Like, this is a good way. This applies to like a lot of students. But like, how do you want your training partners to categorize you or like know you as? Do they want you to know as? Do they? Do you want them to know you as the person that they can trust, that they won't get hurt with? Do you want them to know you as a person that rolls too aggressive and spazzy, that they're not going to
Mhm.
get a productive roll out of? Um, these are the type of things that I think helps frame the mindset for how people should go into their training, because you're going to encounter people that you're going to be better than. Doesn't mean that you have to like totally tool them. You're going to encounter people that are better than you, and you're going to have to learn how to weather the storm and not take things so personally if things aren't going your way. And I think that specific like framing of the mindset, I think is going to influence a lot of people's style of how they roll. There's a time where you're going to kick up the intensity, but then there's times where you just kind of like want to either flow with the position or have an objective of what you're trying to gain out of that role. Because again, it's not about wins and losses, but it's good to have like a little objective of what you're trying to get out of it. Do you want to get better at your escapes? If you're working with like, let's say someone who's much smaller than you, or like from a man and a woman perspective, if you're a man that's obviously much stronger and can outpower a woman, what value are you going to get from just smashing her and just working your submission game? Whereas you could help build her confidence and her offense by letting her work some of her passing her submissions. You can learn how to kind of weather the storm and like feel how you could work, defensive maneuvers and things like that.
Yeah,
this way both people benefit from it.
Yeah, I've like in my experience, I feel like for me, less is more. Like when I first started, I was very explosive, very, active. But I used to always get caught. Now, like the less I do, but still maintaining my focus and my breathing, able to breathe and calm myself, I feel like I'm able to see opportunities. Like if there's a back take, capitalize on that. And so on and so on.
Well, it's helping you see clear. You're not too narrow focused. It's making you a much better critical thinker that way.
Yeah, and then like, because when I've noticed when I'm try to do everything fast and aggressive, like I can't picture in my head what I'm trying to do. So like I'm having like a brain fart. But when I'm calmer and I'm pacing myself, I'm able to see like, okay, from here I could do an arm bar. If that doesn't work, I could try to it goes in the chain.
And I'm hoping that same thought process is what you can take into your business and other areas of your life.
Definitely, yes.
That's one of the lessons that Jiu-Jitsu is providing people, as long as they're, actually receiving that. And that takes some people a little bit longer than others to kind of get, understand.
That's dope. All right. It was my last question, right? I got two more, right? So like, so you open, you gone through this up and downs, you're finding stable. How, excuse me, how did it feel when you were able to like, promote your first blue belts?
Yeah, that was a fun experience. I look forward to doing many more of those. But having my first group of guys has meant a lot to me because they were the OGs. They've been with me since the grassroots locations, and there's always going to be a special bond that we're going to have because they literally saw me from day one. They saw exactly what I was looking to do, how everything was being built. So they have that special bond, that camaraderie, and they're able to help, share that with other people that have been joining our academy. So like when I had the chance to award them their blue belts, it was like I reflect looking at the photos. They've all changed for the better, aside from like their jiu-jitsu knowledge, but being able to have them share a piece of what we were able to build, it's something very memorable. And so that's why when their promotion is very special to me, because they saw the school literally from its humble beginnings. I still keep in contact with some of the other students that were with us in Grassroots, but these are the ones that stuck around and made it like to the next rank, which is blue belt. So I'm definitely excited for the next wave of blue belts we get in the upcoming year. I'm looking forward to hopefully getting other higher ranked promotions in the upcoming year too, the way things are going. And yeah, those are very, very special to me to have that type of promotion. So
yeah, I asked because in one of the I'm studying for my fourth stripe, and one of the videos is there's a young Rich, and he's a white belt, and it was like it was so weird to see him because like from the day I started, he's always been a blue belt.
That's right. That's why I haven't changed those videos. I could always update them to like
Yeah.
new stuff. It's good to it's a good way for you guys to see kind of like where we started. It like I could talk about the location when we started, but I have those videos there for a reason for you guys to review, not just for the technique, but you can also kind of see where we came from as far as like the original studio, if you want to call it.
All right,
Yeah.
so this is my next question and my last one. It's a little off topic, but I just want to know your thoughts. So, uh, the ADCC, right? Am I saying it right?
Yeah, the ADCC, the Abu
Yeah,
Dhabi Combat
yeah. So
Championship.
they just cleared Ryan Gordon to compete.
Gordon Ryan. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, what is your
Yeah.
thoughts? What is your thoughts, and who do you think he's competing against?
Well, the super fight that he's going to be doing with Andre Galvao is definitely a hyped up attraction because
Yeah.
if you recall their last encounter together at one of the Flow Grappling events, Andre Galvao got slapped more than once. And like,
Wait, is that him?
yeah,
Is that him? Because I get it confused. There's two guys, or is it one? Anyway, yeah, he got slapped. He got shit slapped out.
yeah, he got slapped, and that wasn't a good look. And if you knew the upbringings of like how things were, like the Gracie's upbringings and how they handle things in Brazil, if that would have happened, if it was a Gracie in that place and that happens to them, that
It wouldn't go down like that.
It wouldn't go down like that. No. So like,
but what do you think? Like, because like I feel like he deserved those slaps because he was the one taunting.
oh no, I remember that. I remember that event. Yeah, Andre Galvao was taunting. I think he also flipped him off in his face, and then trying to act tough in the background, like during the behind the scenes. And then Gordon Ryan, approached him. They're mouthing off, and then just slapped him. And Andre Galvao literally still didn't do anything. That was I'm sorry, that was a bad look for Andre.
Yeah.
Like, and now I think he's even signed to do MMA too. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that super fight because Gordon is definitely more submission focused, and his track record proves that he's super high level with being able to entangle people in his positions that he wants. Andre plays a very positionally strong sport jiu-jitsu where he comes more from points. So I'm curious to see. I think it's going to go in Gordon Ryan's favor, to be honest, but it's still going to be fun because I think there's going to be a lot of aggressive stand-up battling where they're just going to be pushing and probably palms to the face and whatnot.
I just found who's Andre Galvao. Like,
yeah,
like I didn't know that was him.
Yep, that's him
because that's the one they're really promoting. In which he just signed the MMA deal to fight. Wow.
Maybe him and Gordon Ryan will meet in an MMA ring and one championship. Who knows?
Well, I know Gordon Ryan. He signed like to do a cage fight, but it wasn't like.
No, it's like an exhibition match.
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu exhibition match. I know he did one with. I think it was. I could be wrong if it was Shinya Aoki or it might have been someone else. But yeah, he did like an exhibition fight in the cage. That's like to get his toes wet and to be in that type of environment, I guess. But I know he's looking to do MMA in probably the upcoming year. But yeah, that's gonna be interesting ADCC. And he's also cleared to do the actual like 99 plus kilogram.
Yeah, he's in two different brackets.
Yeah, two different brackets, which I don't think they've ever done before. He's usually the first place winner of the absolute's only going to be doing the super fight. They wouldn't be competing in the actual weight categories, but I guess they made an exception for him because he just wants to dominate, and it's going to be tough. I don't know if anyone's going to have an answer for him. I think one year for the ADCCs, Felipe Pena, I think, had answers to counter his leg lock entanglements.
Well, Andre Galvao, he won last year, right? Because he's like he's got inducted into their Hall of Fame thing.
Yeah, I think he had a super fight. I don't know. I want to say it was with Rafael Lovato or Cyborg. It was one of those. But yeah, that's gonna be exciting. So I'm looking forward to ADCC. I think it's gonna be held on the West Coast, I think. So looking forward to some of those matches.
Are we in the near future gonna see like a Procel tournament?
You mean, I'm not gonna host a tournament. I don't mind competing in it because I'm not. I like testing myself and I like seeing what I could get better at. So I'm sure next year I might do maybe 1 or 2 competitions, but that's just for my own personal interest. If students want to do it too, I'll do my part to help them prepare for it as well.
Dope. All right. Before we go, tell the people where they can find you at.
All right, guys, appreciate you listening to this podcast. If you're looking for a phenomenal jiu-jitsu experience where you can reap the benefits of stress relief, a fantastic workout, and just be surrounded with a lot of awesome people, you can check us out on Instagram. It's at ProcelBJJ. You can find us on Facebook, Procel Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And you can just visit our website and drop your info at procelbjj.com. So you can meet me, my wife, and my awesome students, and let us show you the right way, the fun way of how jiu-jitsu should be taught.
And boom, Professor, thank you for joining me on this 50th episode of DioTalk. It's been very special. It's been an honor having you here, speaking to you, learning a little bit more about you. Thank you.
I appreciate the time. This was fun. Thank you, Dio.
Okay. I want to be your Joe Rogan to your Eddie Bravo.
Why not?
Have a good night, guys. I'm out.